So the topic of death and rebirth has come up a few times for me now, talking to several different people over the past couple of days. And it's come up in the context of whenever we're about to move into something new, there's part of us that really feels like it could just die rather than do that. It's like this fear that feels like a fear of death, and it makes it so difficult to move past this fear that's standing in our way of moving into a different way of being. And I was talking to someone about it in the context of smoking, and we were saying, well, for you to be able to step into this new person of being a non-smoker and not needing that habit, not needing that crutch, you have to be willing to let that old persona, that old smoker persona die, and all the benefits that it brought to you. And so we were talking, well, there's credence, if you started smoking whenever you're a teenager, you're cool because you know how to roll a cigarette, and you're cool because you're smoking, and it's got, you carry weight because, you're rolling a cigarette for somebody, and it's, it's created this whole persona around it. And so whenever you think about giving up, or whenever you think about change of any kind, there's this voice in your head that comes up with a million different reasons of why you should roll the next cigarette, or why you should do the next thing to keep you stuck. And we were talking about, how do you discern the difference between a voice inside that's a fear voice and the voice inside that's encouraging you to step forward into something new. And it can be really sneaky. The ego is so blooming sneaky. So it comes up with all these weird excuses, these weird scenarios. But if you have a look, take a wee step back and have a look at what is the motivation behind that voice that you're listening to at the minute. Is it doing something that is wanting you to stay the same? Or is it encouraging you to step out and do something different? Because the ego hates change. Because to change, a part of you needs to die. We are in a continual cycle, and if we are in a cycle of growth, then we have to continually die and be reborn as something new. Just like the seasons change and the seeds fall and die and then are reborn into the new plant, that has to happen continually, over and over and over again, with all the old ideas, all the old stories that we've told ourselves. Each old story has to die before we can rewrite the new one. And it does feel like death. It's actually terrifying, and you can get so wound up about what on the face of it seems to be such a small thing, but actually is a built-in mechanism that is there to keep us safe. But it can be really unhelpful when the patterns that we have picked up, or the programming that's been instilled in us as children, or the ideas that we formed around, not feeling good enough, or not being worthy of being seen, or whatever ideas it is we've built up in our heads, and the whole person, the whole ego, the whole story that we tell ourselves, whenever we start to challenge it, there's so much opportunity for growth, and yet it feels so scary. And one of the things that one of my friends was highlighting as we were talking about this only on a different topic was so no matter what, the old patterns, whenever we look at them, they might be comfortable, but they're not helpful. So They are keeping us stuck. They might be making us really unhappy. And part of it wants to get out of it. But there's part of it is so comfortable. Just staying in the mire. Even if it's not good for us, it's still safe. It seems safe and comfortable. Even if it's crap. But yet there's another different type of discomfort to change. But that type of discomfort, that facing the fear, that facing the dragon that's guarding the treasure, whenever we're willing to go with that discomfort instead of the discomfort that we're stuck in, whenever we're willing to step forward and listen to the voice that encourages us to change, listen to the voice that encourages us to do something different, just to see what the outcome might be, then trusting that voice and taking that step forward and realising that we can overcome that fear, it's so empowering. And it's kind of infectious once you actually start to bring in little bits of change and you see that you can do it. You want more of it. And as you do more of it, the rate of change just grows exponentially. And suddenly you look back a week and go, oh my goodness, I'm a completely different person. Just from changing one little thing and growing in confidence and going, actually, it was okay to say goodbye to that old part of me. That wasn't helping me anymore. And saying goodbye and going through that grief process of saying goodbye and consciously letting it go and consciously and precisely stepping into the person that you want to be and being clear on who you want to be and stepping out into it in faith is so scary but so worthwhile. And getting to rewrite those old stories, those old personas that aren't serving us, is so empowering. And it's amazing just the ripple effect that it has, where you might think on the face of it that it's just about giving up smoking, or it's just about, not being on your phone all the time, or whatever other, habits that we get into that aren't helpful. On the surface, it seems like, oh yeah, it's just giving up this thing. But if you can do that one wee thing, then you can do another thing and another thing. And suddenly it starts to unlock things in your life that you would never have thought of doing if you were just stuck in the same mandala, the same hamster wheel of everything's just the same. And you have all these hopes for the future, but if you just hope and then keep doing things the same, you're not getting any closer to it. You just sit stuck. You're just in a cycle and it's not moving forwards. And that willingness to go, I'm going to let that part of me die, to see what can be birthed out of the ashes that have been left behind, takes true courage. And when we do it, the universe steps up to meet us and lift us, because the universe wants growth. Our higher selves, they're here to grow. That's what we're here for. We're here to grow and evolve and continually die and be reborn as new, better versions of ourselves every single day. Continual cycle of dying and being reborn that makes life so exciting. It makes every day a surprise instead of just the same old crap over and over and over again. To be able to wake up each morning and be surprised about what is coming along, because you've allowed yourself, you've given yourself permission to make one more little change, and being willing to step into that change is astounding when you see just what the universe can do when you're willing to step out and trust it. So whatever is going on in your life, whatever hamster wheel you're stuck on, whatever habits, whether it's habitual thinking or addictions or repeated cycles that you find yourself in, being willing to say, no, I don't want to be that anymore. I can be something different. And I'm going to take action to make that change. Just watch what the universe will do for you as you step out in faith and go, I don't know who I'm going to be if I'm not this thing, but I'm willing to let this old thing go. And in letting that old thing go, the field of infinite possibility that you step into is immense, and the surprises that the universe can have for you are so breathtaking that it would just be a crying shame to stay stuck in that old cycle and never experience the possibilities that an infinite universe can bring to you.